tapping into the true potential of the human spirit. This is Humanity Empowered. This is the Implicit Show. Hello, and welcome to another edition of The Implicit Show. My name is Bren Dubé. I'm your host today, and you guys know what the show is about, right? The show is about, empowering humanity in whichever possible way we can, whether it be with our Music Mondays, we got Q&A Tuesdays, we interview people throughout the week, and today, on Fridays, as you guys know, we get a group of people together. We get as many people as we can on the call to talk about our goals, to talk about where we're at in life, and how we're going to improve. And I think the whole point of this is, my plan here, the idea is through us sharing our goals, through us sharing ourselves, we do a lot of talking. The podcast is like, oh, let me talk about this idea and this theory and this strategy, and let's talk about it. But today I want to do it. Like today I want to help, these guys on the call achieve their goals, and I'd love to get their help and their insights when it comes to achieving my goals. So that's what this is about. And obviously you guys are going to get a ton out of this, because not only do you get to hear what I'm working on in my life and where I'm at, you also get to hear what these guys are doing, and it kind of gives you inspiration. I mean, anytime I hear somebody else talking about a goal they're working on or anything, I'm like, should I pursue that? Is there anything, does that apply to my goals or anything? So that's what today's all about. So I'm going to introduce these guys. I'm going to introduce Sean, and then I'm going to let Sean introduce his friend. So Sean, what's up, man? You guys know Sean. Sean was on the call a couple days ago. How you doing? He's a speaker, trainer, author.
2 days ago, man.
Yeah. So tell us, man, how you been since? What's life been like?
Dude, so I went back and I looked at the comments, and dude, they were awesome and they were great. And I even watched the show myself, dude. It was just, it was awesome. So today I actually got a phone call from somebody in Raleigh, which is about an hour and a half away from me, and was like, hey man, would you like to come speak at our awards banquet for sales professionals and distributors and stuff? And I'm like, heck yeah, let's do this. So yeah, that happened just this afternoon. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. And I got my awesome friend Jay with me. Jay is actually my videographer and best friend and photographer. He has a company called 2Ps Photography, and the guy is on fire, man. Building a photography and video company from the ground up, man. The guy is inspiring, motivating, and man, it's just an awesome dude. So Jay, tell us what you do.
Yeah, man.
Hey everyone, my name is Jay, as John said. I make people, really, the drive, everything, ever since my 2 boys were born, people. I've always had a heart for helping people. Wherever they see an opportunity, it's an opportunity for me to grow, With the photography thing, I grabbed the camera when they were born. They were born preemies. And from then on, I decided I wanted to grab every living moment lives.
And they're twins.
Yes, they're twin boys.
Twin boys.
And this just drove me forward. I've had an affinity for photography before and video since like high school, but never really pursued it because I always thought the equipment was expensive. Well, didn't have enough mentors to kind of push me or propel me forward. Didn't have enough people to teach me, the very basics. There's 2 sides of the story. Is the business side, and then there's the photography side. And a lot of times, you don't really have enough grasp on one or the other, and that's why a lot of people give it up. But slowly, I've been able to hook up with some of the guys like Peter Hurley, which is an awesome headshot photographer. Met Sean along the way, awesome speaker, as you guys all know, and just inspiring people. And as we've grown slowly, my photography skills, knowing these people have actually grown a huge deal. I've actually been able to touch a lot of people through my photography, whether it be models growing or families that are separated by military deployment or just anywhere in those facets. It's been a great thing for me growing as a person also.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's cool to have you on the show. It's cool to just meet you now and hear a little bit about what you're doing with your photography business. I mean, I always have respect for entrepreneurs, because like they're insane. I mean, to in this day and age, to try and build a business or try to build anything, right, despite all of the failure that people are running into and all the blocks and barriers, it takes some grit, man. And so like I definitely respect you for that, honor you for that. So this is your first time on the show, Jay. Why don't you tell people a little bit about kind of your mission with your photography. I know that's something that you do, and that's what you help Sean with and stuff. Tell us a little bit about more, how you got into that. Well, I guess because you had your kids and that, but you tell us a little bit more about it.
It started in high school. I actually took video and photography classes. A lot of high school students take it just as a hobby. You don't ever think about making it a career later on. I grew up pretty poor. There wasn't really a lot in the family, not a lot of opportunities per se. And this is one of those things where they talk about resilience. You have the hard times in your life, but you always have the will to overcome. No matter what happens, you are your own worst enemies. How they put it to me was point out. I've always kept that in mind and focus when it comes to roadblocks that I accomplish, and just try to overcome that one way or another. My mom was a single mom. Dad wasn't around, so it was always like my job to get there and try to make it happen for me, for the family, whatnot. After high school and all that happened, I went into the military. Great stepstone, financial. So once that I went ahead and picked up the camera.
Sounds like we're getting some audio issues there. I can't necessarily hear you right now. Sorry, go ahead. Could you say that again, Jay?
Once I picked up the camera, I was able to get the camera, and it felt like a lot of photographers that I've come across don't really connect. A lot of people, yes, you go to a photo studio and you pose for a photo, and that's all you get. You get the deer in the headlights kind of looks, and you put that on your wall, and that's all you get. You really don't embrace that moment. When boys were born, I made it my goal to make sure that every little moment, every special moment in their life that I could capture, I captured it in a way that I was able to basically put myself in that same place and time every time I looked at a photograph. And that's what I try to do with a lot of my clients. I don't spend a lot of money like a lot of photographers on ads and all that other stuff. A lot of it is just a lot of people see the work, and that's how basically it's been spreading out since I started. And it's gotten bigger and bigger. I always try to grasp the comfort, try to break people out of the fear of being in front of a camera. I've been connected with a lot of sexual assault victims, trying to break them out of self-image problems.
Awesome.
Something that you got to deal with PTSD victims that are afraid of a flash because, the only thing they can remember is, the muzzle of another weapon firing from the other end. Cancer victims that are, in the last leg, and all they have is the very few things from that one family member that's about to pass away. These moments, and almost get them to sit at a standstill so that they can always remember those good moments, those happy moments, or those live moments. And that's basically my focus with everyone that I try to get in touch with or try to touch my photography.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love to hear, how people are doing those kind of things. Like, it can't be easy working with people who have been through that kind of adversity, because you have to treat them a little differently, right? Because you can't just throw a camera in their face and you're like, oh yeah, here, flash, 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 right? It takes a little bit more than that. So that's really cool, man. So I'm going to kick this off, I guess, with talk about my goals, because you guys already know what I'm up to. You guys already kind of know myself and what I'm working on. And so last week on the call, I was talking about basically how my goal is to write every day, to write for my book that I'm working on. It's interesting because I'm working on 12 books in the next 12 months. But actually, no, it's 13 books in the next 12 months. And it's crazy, because, I'm not a writer. It's not something I really consider myself much of a songwriter. Maybe I love writing songs, right? But I've got all these ideas, and I've got, all this information that has changed my life, and these stories that I've had no choice, but I have to share this stuff. And so what I'm doing with that is, every single month I'm releasing a new book as part of a mastery series. And so the mastery series is simple, right? It's really just about, mastering a different area of your life every single month. So last month it was, just covering mastery in general. And this month is all about motivation. Next month it's all about mindset and stuff like that and going on. I'm also working on a book that kind of talks about and goes along with my music and how and what I'm doing with that stuff. And so it's all exciting. It's exciting stuff, but you know, yeah, see, that's the thing is I don't necessarily have a writing plan as much as I just write whenever I get the time, right? And so something that would definitely help me improve, like you said, is having some sort of schedule to write with, because, you know, it's so easy to get caught up in life. Like there's so many things going on. I mean, I got family, I got that wants my attention. And my dad's bugging me to buy him a guitar. He's like, man, I got to get a guitar. I got like, you know, I got people on call here. I'm all over the place. So it's crazy. It's busy. And especially when you're trying to write 13 books at a time, it's like, holy shit, like how do I keep track of this? So that's kind of my challenge right now.
Yeah, and you said each book's like what, 30 to 50 pages, right?
Yeah, they're like 30 to 50 pages, which isn't too bad. It's really not.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I mean, aside from all the other things I have going on, right? I'm also running a business.
Oh.
I'm also, you know, being a musician and stuff like that. So there's a lot going into it. Hey, we got another friend.
That's my boy Jonathan. What's up?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Bro, I was bragging on you earlier.
I heard my name. I showed up.
so Bren Dubé, this is Jonathan Pritchard. Bren Dubé is an amazing musician, TEDx speaker. He runs a podcast, Facebook Live. Jonathan is a mentalist speaker, my friend and coach, and his input is invaluable to me. So you guys mash up and be on each other's podcasts and whatever, dude, you guys are going to do. The chemistry between you two would be amazing. I'm telling you, Jonathan is awesome.
Awesome. Well, we can end the hangout now. That's all I needed. I hope I can live up to that. That's awesome. Thank you, sir.
So Jonathan, we're talking about having a plan, going from nothing to something. And what is the plan? What is the goals? And how do you start?
Yeah.
So how did you start your podcast and your mentalist business?
Yeah, I kind of figured out, wow, I really like listening to these podcasts. And I saw a guy I toured with for a year and a half kind of start his own YouTube series, and just saw how he did it and went, wait a minute, why am I not doing that for myself? So then I just kind of Googled a lot of stuff to be able to know how to ask the right questions to the people who I knew who were already doing stuff like that. So instead of me calling them up and going, hey, I'm starting at 0, catch me up to speed, it was more of, here's what I know already. What do I need to do from here? And then I was much more likely to get people to share knowledge instead of going, this is just going to be another thing I have to do. I'm going to have to, but when people just go, oh yeah, of those two things, do this one instead. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's a lot easier. Right? So try to make it as easy for people to help me as possible. And then you get a lot of help.
You definitely have to have an open mindset. What about you, Bren? Is that kind of the same thing? Like what got you? I don't think we ever talked about this. Why do implicit, man? Like why do the podcast and the Facebook Live videos and all that?
Man, like it's so simple to me, like really, because like Jonathan said, I was just so into podcasts. I was so into learning and books and videos and all these things. And like I had reached a point in my life where I made a complete 180 turn. You know, I was this punk rock kid who all I wanted to do is party and like, you know, just like get in shit and just like mess with people and just like, that was all. I was like just a punk kid. I was a brat. And I made a complete 180 shift one day. You know, I quit drinking, I quit eating junk food, I quit watching copious amounts of Netflix and smoking weed all the time and like Netflix or did I say Netflix? Video games, a little bit of everything, you know.
Still on that weed.
Still on that weed. And anyways, you know, it was just a matter of me wanting to share the information. I had like so many of my friends were bugging me. They were like, "What? How do you know all these things? Like, what are you doing? Like, well, how do you know these things?" And I'd come up with all these advice for people and friends, and eventually I just figured, hey, like I should just start a podcast. I should just do it, share the information, put it out there. And this is something that I love to do anyways. Like I love having the kind of chats where you go deep, like where you get down to like what the person's really about and what they're here to do in life. And that interests me, you know, because I know there's so many people who I could talk to, and I don't know what's going on in their minds. Like, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't even think they really know what's going on with them, right? But it's,
Well,
I
Jonathan
love talking
can
to
enlighten
people.
us on that.
I love talking to people who know themselves. You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of what I like to do.
Yeah.
Jonathan, what draws you to what you do, man?
It is the best context I've ever found for me to exercise my creativity and curiosity. Like, that's it. I've never found anything else that allows me to do all the things I want to do the way that I want to do them and get positive reinforcement for it. Right. So doing the speaking and performing allows me to put my art degree to use. I know all my own materials. I get to put psychology into practice of good marketing practices, right? Just all those things together. I'm just like, well, nothing else really checks all these boxes off, right? It's the same reason why I practice Kung Fu every day, right? That's kind of my physical discipline that plays out in my whole life. So it's just kind of the mentalism and speaking is the right conduit for where I am right now.
Perfect. That's cool.
That's cool, man. I'd love to have you on the show one of these days to talk a little bit more about the mentalism stuff. I'm interested.
Yes.
I'm interested.
Yeah, let me talk to my people. Yep. The all here.
Cool. We'll make that work.
I'll have my people get in touch with your people. It's easy.
Awesome, man. So how do you guys know each other? How does Jay, Sean, and Jonathan know each other?
Yeah, how did we meet? It's kind of one of those things where, like, for me, I was just like, oh yeah, I know this guy. He's amazing. He's awesome. We've just known each other forever.
Yeah. So, last year, well, actually, Jay and I were talking. So Jay and I serve in the military together, and we also started car clubs together. Jay has like thousands and thousands of person following in Japan, where like he masterminded this whole cars and coffee thing. And so Jay and I got together here where we are in North Carolina, and the love of cars drew us together, and then we formed car clubs, and then he started taking pictures, and I'm like, cool, take a picture of me. And then we just kind of just our lives were just similar, you know what I mean? Following the same path. And so I was like, man, last year I was like, man, I really want to like start like a speaking business, because I'm a trainer and a coach for the military and all that stuff. And so I really want to make a business out of this. And Jay was like, well, I can help you with that. So he did. And then Jonathan and I met through Facebook-ish. I was actually a guest on his podcast. He was like one of the first couple I was on, and we hit it off, man. Our chemistry was awesome. And then we've just kind of kept in touch, and he's kind of helped me out and just always given me a lot of advice, and it's always held true. So so your advice is invaluable to what I'm doing.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, I follow him, and Jay's like my friend and confidant. And then I met Bren through Bears, who you guys all know Bears. All the listeners know who Bears is. Bears and I spoke at a conference last May for the One Life Fully Lived conference, and we became really good friends. And then Bears introduced me to Bren and Cameron, and then there it goes. So
now we're all jamming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's good. That's good, man. So Sean, man, why don't you tell me about some of the things you're working on with your goals and stuff, and maybe how we could mastermind about it?
Yeah. So I actually yesterday was on the phone with the guy who is helping me set up my own radio show. It's going to be called Transformation Radio. And he's using a program called Shoutcast and Winamp, and it's an online radio show. So I just log into the online server, and then I just hit the on air, and then I go on my time slot, which is going to be, I think we're doing Wednesdays at 5:30. So we're trying to iron out all the details and whatnot. Just got booked today to speak in Raleigh, February 22nd. That's going to be awesome. It's a sales professional thing. And I actually posted in the One Life community, and Jonathan hit me up right away. Like, you're the first person to comment on what is the one tip I would give to sales professionals. So thank you so much, Jonathan. I'm going to use it. And so I got that. And then I've got a couple gigs that are coming up in March, and then just our mastermind. So Jay is actually going to be our photographer, videographer guy for our April 29th event called Build Your Dream Life. So Jay's going to be there. I'm going to be there. A couple other speakers are going to be there. It's going to be awesome.
I'm curious. What is the tip that you're gonna give to the
Okay,
salespeople?
so unless Jonathan remembers, but I can pull this up and said exactly what
I
he
do,
said.
but
Okay.
I was like hearing what people like took and can recall from what you say, because communication isn't what you say, it's the response you get. So it's just
Yeah,
like me
I
doing a
definitely
magic
didn't want to
trick.
butcher your comment though.
Well, I love so anytime I'm talking to somebody new and there's somebody already there who has seen me perform and do mind reading shows or whatever, the new person goes, "So tell me about your show." I always like going, "Hey, why don't you tell them about what I do? Because I'm interested to see how you explain it."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm always more interested in other people giving my advice than
Right.
me.
So I was trying to look. I was trying to look for it, but basically, Jonathan was saying what I got from his comment was, you have to believe in what you're selling, and you have to believe that what you are selling will change someone else's life, and that should be the focus is on the person and so much not the sale, because it's all about transformation. That's what I
Mhm.
got.
Yep. Yeah.
Yup.
Yep. Well, I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna take you for a ride.
Yeah.
There, these are the 12 laws that I live my life by,
Okay.
and one of them is the super important. They're all super important, but what is it? Yeah, number 7 is transition over transaction. Right? If
Mm.
you're focused on the sale and just getting them booked or getting their dollars, that's not good. But if you focus on the transition of helping them go from here all the way through to here and beyond, you've got a relationship for life. And that's a client I want. I don't want just a single transaction, because that's too short focused and it's only focused on yourself instead of focusing on how can I help this person get to where they need to be with what I have to offer.
I, I think, Jay, what do you think? That kind of sounds like what you were saying earlier, like with what you do and the relationships that you build with your clients in photography, right?
Absolutely. There was this mentor. I really consider him a mentor because I learned so much from him. One of the things that he does as a photographer is trying to break people out of it. Like I said before, that I want to be in a standstill or let me pose. Well, most people aren't professional photographers, professional models, excuse me. So they're not going to automatically know how to pose for a photo. So if something that I do with every one of my clients is I meet in person with them, or I try to call them over the phone if they can't be in person there, and try to even though we just met, establish a relationship first. They have, even though that they don't know me for a long time or have that initial view, a little bit of trust that gets deposited into that. So once you establish that initial relationship, well, trying to you try to get to know them just a little bit better, find out what their perks are, family is, you get to know their, overall what makes them who they are. Once you get to get out of the camera and start to take a photo, you already know how to drive this person, how to get them to be comfortable. There's a set of questions that I ask almost every person where I interview them and whenever I sit with them, and they're tactical. I want to know what makes them tick, what makes them smile, what laugh, what brings emotions out of them. And in focusing on that more so than, oh, I want my fee as a photographer. Crosses a lot of barriers that people have trust issues. I don't know if a photographer, I don't know who your pictures are going to be. So all that, if I get to them right up front, out, they're comfortable. There's kids where really
Are you
I make the
Wait,
kids part of the
are you
equation.
guys hearing what Jay's saying? I'm
is
not sure
is
I
he
can hear what
is
he's
he? You
saying.
sounded kind of digitized there, Jay.
It sounds like he's slowly disappearing from a
Yeah,
couple.
I think the Decepticons got him.
I was just gonna say that. I
Damn
was like,
it.
the Decepticons are taking over Jay's computer.
Wait, guys, we got a picture of Jay here, I think. No, never mind. I
That's a
think we
good
lost
looking
Jay.
picture, man.
Yeah,
Who
man.
took that?
Who took that?
He did.
He must have a good photographer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Love it.
What I was saying is that it's important the relationship you keep with the
Okay.
people when you meet them. Is like Jonathan was saying, if you learn how to establish a relationship first, that transition is easy, because you get to connect with them at a more personal level. And like you say, Sean, all the time, once it becomes personal, then it's more important to you, you know?
Absolutely.
So if the transaction no longer becomes the focus for them as a client, then it becomes, oh, he's really interested in who I am and what I want to portray in front of this photo once I get it back. I'm more interested in the end product, how these photos are going to come out. If, he thinks I'm this important to it, then yeah, I'm a little more comfortable with showing who I truly am in front of the camera, because he's really interested in that and not just what the invoice says at the very bottom.
Aren't we all the same though? Like Jonathan does his entertainment and his speaking, and then I do speaking and coaching, and you do photography, and Bren with his music. Like, isn't there a common thread there? Like, we all have a message, and our message shows through in what we do. So when you take the pictures, when you look at the picture, shouldn't there be a message coming through that picture about that person?
Absolutely, absolutely. I truly believe so. It's important for them that they show that in grabbing that moment in time, that emotion. If it's like I mentioned before, I worked with one couple who was, the wife was still alive, but her husband had 6 months to live, as a cancer patient. To her, it's important that that her husband's memory remains alive. So being able to bring that forward, that emotion, that in that point in time in her life later on, if she looks back at those photos, she should be able to feel, the same love and the same affection she felt for her husband, more so than, oh, my husband is dying. Bringing that piece of life back to them. I mean, that's what it's all about for me, definitely.
Wow.
Isn't there that saying that the camera can read your mind? Right? Whatever you're thinking about when your picture's taken, that's what comes through in the image.
Correct.
Right? So that's kind of like, yeah, because if you're stilted and you're just like, this is my one camera shoot for doing all my promo for the website and postcards and everything, and I got to get this right now. You're freaked out. You're just going to be so stiff and awkward. And then you send out postcards that are all,
Yeah,
nobody's going to book you. They're just like, yeah, thank you, but no thank you. But if you're relaxed and having a good time, and then,
right.
yeah, like one of the photographers I worked with a while ago was like, okay, have you ever gotten a standing ovation? I was like, yeah. He was like, what was that like? Like, walk me through it. So I started describing it, and he was like, hey, look at me, and then took the picture. And I was like, that's a damn fine picture. I loved it. So yeah, and that's what he was like, yeah, whatever you're thinking about, that's what comes through in the image.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. So we're getting close to the end of the show here. I'd love to kind of, I got to say thanks right off the bat, Sean, for getting your buddies in here. It's great to meet you, Jay and Jonathan. I'm sure this will not be the end. I'll see you guys around soon for sure. But let's give just a nugget of knowledge. If you could give like one nugget of knowledge away to the listeners, which nugget would you give, Sean?
Go ahead.
Which nugget would you give?
Okay, so my line that I always say though, man, and Jay hears it so many times, is like, the greatest gift is the positive effect that you have on other people. You have the positive effect just in your life, in people around you. Just, you have the opportunity to inspire and motivate everybody around you. Do it.
Love that. What about you, Jonathan? You got any nuggets?
Yeah, I'm going to share my life's motto. I learned this in high school and just keep this close to my heart all day, every day. And it's illegitimus non carborundum, which is, do not be ground down or worn away by those of illegitimate birth. Don't let the bastards get you down.
Don't let the bastards. Yes.
Right? Don't let other people set your mood. Don't let other people set your outlook. You are responsible for how you meet the day.
That's awesome.
So don't let other people drag you down, man.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man. Jay, you got any nuggets?
I'll definitely say this is something that I've lived a lot of my life by is definitely, as I mentioned it before, you are your own worst enemy. But in all your paths, definitely discard the negatives and focus on the positives. Don't worry about whatever happens, what may get you down or whatnot, but just keep your head on the positives. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. As long as you get up and you try it again, you're on the right path.
Boom, you heard it, guys. And I'm just gonna say, man, I'm just going to say perspective. Just bring it down to perspective. If you're having a bad day, if you feel negative, if you're in a strange situation or you don't quite know what's going on, you feel iffy, just take a step back and get some perspective. Like, you're a freaking human. This is planet Earth. You know, we have computers. We're on the freaking internet right now. Like, if you just take a step back to think about these kind of things, it could seriously blow your mind. But I know for myself personally, and I bet you guys have been through this too, sometimes we get caught up. We get caught up in life's shit, and we're just like, I gotta get out of this shit, right? And sometimes it just takes a little bit of perspective. It takes stepping outside of yourself. And I love what you guys were talking about earlier when it comes to, you know, rather, like, I think it was Sean was talking about this in sales, you know, instead of focusing on yourself and how you're doing, focus on how you could help that person, focus on the transformation that you could create rather than the transaction. So love that. Love that.
Jonathan's tip. Yeah, that was
Jonathan's tip. Thank you, Jonathan. Anyways,
you're welcome.
Anyways, I hope I talk to you guys soon. Thanks again for coming on the call. Let's see the peace sign. Let's give everybody a peace sign.
Peace.
Boom.
Peace. Love it.